2 years ago, a 65-year-old man shot and killed a man trying to rob him in Queens. The good news is, in the end, he wasn't charged with murder. The bad news, he's still being sentenced to 4 years in prison. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. One morning in May 2023, around 2 a.m., Charles Foner was walking home when he was approached in the driveway of a parking garage by 32-year-old Cody Gonzalez. Gonzalez, who had a record of 15 arrests dating back to 2004, including arrests for robbery and gun charges, had been running around smashing windows earlier that night and had a history of mental illness, lunged at Foner and demanded cash and cigarettes while holding a sharp object. It was dark, and the man continued to charge at Foner even after Foner pulled a gun. In the end, the object was a pen, which was only discovered after Foner shot Gonzalez 4 times in the chest. But while the item Gonzalez was threatening Foner with was a pen, he was also armed with a gun. Gonzalez turned and tried to run, but ultimately collapsed in the street. Foner dialed 911 to report it. Unfortunately for Foner, the revolver he used to defend himself wasn't legal because getting a legal gun in New York is about as common as unicorn farts. Originally, he was arrested and charged with criminal possession of a weapon and criminal possession of a firearm. But before I get into the rest of the charges Foner ended up facing and how he's getting a 4-year prison sentence, this video is brought to you by the Attorneys for Freedom and their Attorneys on Retainer program. They are exactly who you want to have in your corner in a situation like this. They specialize in self-defense cases, and as long as you are a member when the incident happened and reasonably acted in good faith, they will take your case and defend you, whether the self-defense incident comes with felony charges, misdemeanors, you were unlicensed, or even if it happened in a gun-free zone. And now their retainer program gets you not 1, not 2, but 4 lawyers in your case if it has to go to trial. 3 self-defense specialists and a 4th lawyer of your choice. Because of this new feature, as well as their new coverage for red flag hits, expungement work, and civil liability coverage, their prices will be going up for anyone signing up in the new year. So if this sounds like peace of mind to you, use my link down in the description and code LibertyDoll to get $50 off your individual sign-up fee. After the shooting, Foner unfortunately admitted that he had shot his would-be mugger with an illegal gun, but New York being what it is, they would have found out anyways. The cops went to Foner's apartment, where they found what they called an arsenal of 26 handguns, revolvers, and rifles, plus ammo. He was hit with 25 weapons charges. In fact, I covered the original incident in June 2023. In New York, they require all of your guns to be registered with the state, and Foner had bought the bulk of his back in the 90s and never registered them. His bail was set to $50,000 despite him being a deli worker at the time, retired doorman living practically next to the courthouse, and having 0 criminal record. But the assistant DA wanted to make an example of him, saying they had to be tough on Foner because the city has too many shootings. He was facing 25 years in prison, which would have pretty much been life in prison for him, as he'd be 94 when he was released, assuming that he lived that long in prison. He told prosecutors he was carrying because his neighborhood was so crime-ridden, which, in fact, it is, saying he didn't feel safe, and clearly he had good reason. Well, the case went on for over 2 years, and finally, in an effort to avoid trial and a potential 25-year sentence, Foner took a plea, pleading guilty to 1 count of criminal weapons possession. Foner is now 67, and at his sentencing hearing on January 14th, he will be sentenced to 4 years in prison. The DA even tried to have him remanded into custody before sentencing, but the judge allowed him to go home and spend Christmas with his family. Foner's lawyer, Thomas Kenneth, who is the same guy that defended Daniel Penny, said that, unfortunately, if Foner had gone to trial, the illegal gun charges would not have been hard to prove. Only 6 of his firearms were legally registered. The rest were not. But he called Foner a hero who was put in an impossible situation and said that if the state were a fair constitutional one, he'd be getting a plaque rather than a prison sentence. Unfortunately, we have seen similar behavior from New York before, especially in the Dexter Taylor case, and he never shot anybody, never had to defend himself, nothing. He was just an engineer having some fun building things at home. And he is now in a max security prison. So I suppose if you compare them that way, Foner is getting the better end of the stick. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of times when I bring you updates, they are happy ones. This one could be worse, but is still not great. Nonetheless, that is it for this video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you are new here. Ring that notification bell and leave a comment down below. Also, thank you to everyone who nominated me for Influencer of the Year at the Gundies. Voting runs from December 1st through the 15th on their website. Please remember to go vote. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe out there and happy shooting.